please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good day, everybody. Okay. Please silence your cell phones or put them on vibrate. Okay. The next regular scheduled meeting is for Friday, October 26, 2018 at 9 a.m. at the Community Center here at 3500 Edgewater Drive, Sebring, Florida. Consent agenda. The minutes of the Board of Supervisors regular meeting held Friday, September 28, 2018, and B, resolution number 2018-10/12-40, a resolution of the Sun and Lake of Sebring Improvement District to amend the district policy to remove policy D-1020, effective declaration of unity of title on operation and maintenance assessments of residential lots. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved. Second.
Board comment? None? Public comment?
That's like a trigger for him. Good morning, Bill Norcross, resident. Last week, I don't know if this is pertinent to the topic or we're discussing right now, but it's just that last week we had a lengthy meeting on global golf and Henry Delogier's report. It was very lengthy. It was about 32, 34 pages, and there was a lot of questions I think people could have asked, but it was so lengthy, about an hour, that I wish in the future, and this has been discussed with the President, that a lengthy article like that could be broken up just a little bit. So if it's 30 pages, do 10 pages comment, next 20 pages, next 10 pages, whatever. It just makes it a little bit easier because it was a very interesting report and involves some money and the golf course, and I think that a lot of people are interested in the fact. Okay? Thank you very much for your consideration of breaking up some of the reports.
Definitely will do that. Thanks for the suggestion. Okay. Chrissy?
Supervisor Stiegel?
Yes.
Supervisor Branson?
Yes.
Supervisor Brooks?
Yes.
Supervisor Gilpin?
Yes.
President Camp?
Yes. Action agenda. Resolution 2018-10/12-41. A resolution of the Sun and Lake of Sebring Improvement District to approve a Lewis Longman Walker engagement letter for representation on the transitioning to the uniform method of collection. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved. Second.
Board comment?
I have a question.
No, well, actually, Tanya's going to explain a little bit of it, I think.
Good morning, Supervisors. The district has been in contact with the Highlands County Tax Collector about utilizing their services for our billing and collection of assessments. The resolution that's in front of you today is authorization to allow Lewis Longman Walker, which is recommended by the district, and our district attorney to assist us with consultation and a timeline so that we can make informed decisions, as well as the tax collector, about what we're really looking at as far as our public hearing notices and other Florida statute requirements. So this is, again, this is just for services related to Lewis Longman Walker today. This is not authorizing us to utilize a tax collector excuse me, at this time, but there is statutory requirements that we have to follow first.
Board comment?
How long will it be before we use this? 2019? Is that what I read? If everything goes through?
That is tentatively, yes. 2019 is what we're looking at.
Okay.
Okay, I'll step out of order then here. Just a quick question then. What is the estimated cost for this?
I don't, this is just not to exceed 10,000. I don't expect it to be that much because initially all we're looking for is assistance with timelines and draft, like a draft agreement to provide to the tax collector so he can read it over. I don't expect it to be 10,000, but this is just a not to exceed.
Okay. Were these the same people that did it way back when I wasn't living here at the time?
Yes.
They were the same firm?
That's right.
Yeah, if I recall correctly, Terry Lewis is he's an attorney that actually worked with the state legislature for the formation of the special district, so he's very knowledgeable about this.
Okay. And you're not up to speed on all of this?
Well, not when it comes to dealing with the transitioning method on getting it all put into the tax collector's hands.
Okay, thank you.
Well, I got a call from a resident late yesterday, and I just need confirmation or whatever on this. I understand that we did this once upon a time, like back in 2009, 2008. I didn't have time to check this all out, so I apologize for that. But did we, once upon a time, back about 10 years ago, do this process and actually have hooked onto the county with our bill for a year? 1 year. We did it for 1 year. But I also understand, or I was led to believe, again, I didn't check it out, that McClure was the one that legally walked us through this process at that time.
I'd have to check on that. If it was before I got there.
I mean, my question is, if McClure actually walked us through, and that is the firm that you work for, I don't understand why we would go to an outside firm.
I can absolutely check into it.
I'm sorry?
I said I can check into it. I don't. I didn't start working with McClure's office until 2012, so I'm not sure if that's something that we.
I just like to believe that he's already done it for us. So if he's done it for us, I don't know why he wouldn't do it again, and we keep the money in house. And we don't have to deal with another lawyer firm.
I'll check in it.
So before I would vote on it, I'd like to have that information.
We would still have to pay either firm, for the services, whether it's Lewis Longman or Mr. McClure's office. But I don't know actually who walked us through at that time. It was 2007.
It appears that the question on the table right now is we're at a not to exceed $10,000 because of the way we're set up. Or the second side of it might be, and I'm not trying to speak for Supervisor Brooks, but maybe when we did it under John McClure, it was some fractional cost of that, i.e. maybe $5,000 or $3,000 or $2,000. And without having the information right now, I think it makes it a little difficult for some of us to maybe make that decision to go forward with this. It's just my thought. Any other comment from the board here?
I'd just be curious as to why we only did it for 1 year. I mean, if it was about what we wanted to do.
I don't know what the situation is either. I'll pick Mr. McClure's brain and see if I can get some information. He's the historian when it comes to that.
I didn't necessarily expect anybody in this room to know that, but I am curious.
We've talked about that in length a number of times. Charles Bryan was the tax collector at the time, and he is now passed away. But we really don't know why it was only 1 year. We've researched, we've talked, but I think maybe Mr. McClure could spread some light on that situation.
Any comment, Michael, or Dan? No further. Okay. Public comment?
Bill Norcross, resident. I think it's a good idea that you consolidate this billing process. It avoids duplication. And I don't know if you get any kind of credit for mailing now. I can't believe a letter's going up to 55 cents a letter. So I think the only way we can consolidate this, make it more efficient, and more power because of the county influence as far as collecting and distributing taxes. I think it's a good idea. Thank you.
Supervisors, we are on a deadline with this. I believe that there is some public hearing requirements by January 1st. Unless there is a waiver given by the tax collector to March 1st, I do believe we are under some deadlines, but the only way that ourselves and the tax collector can make a decision is to receive the timeline and some information from our attorneys. So if we don't have this information currently, this could really put us in a position where we might not make our deadlines. So.
Okay. Thank you. No further public comment? Chrissy?
What do we vote? So we're going to...
vote.
Supervisor Branson,
Wait, before we vote, I'm confused. I said I have a concern over how we're doing this, and we're still going to go ahead and vote.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. What's 2 weeks? Give me a break.
Go ahead, Chrissy.
Supervisor Branson,
No.
Supervisor Brooks,
No.
Supervisor Gilpin,
No.
Supervisor Stiegel,
Yes.
President Camp.
No.
Can we revisit this then in 2 weeks with an update of information?
At the next meeting?
There may not be any point.
Pardon me?
There may not be any point.
Why is that?
She just said we were under a deadline. If we don't make that deadline, we don't get it done in 2019.
That's what she said.
We'll get the information to you either way. I can give it a shot.
Makes sense.
All I want to know is if he did it, and if he did it, I would think that your firm would do it again. That's all. Instead of going to somebody else. I mean, I'm not saying not to do it.
Me either.
I don't think anybody's saying not to do this. I think they just need some clarification on how it was handled before.
I'll come back in 2 weeks, and I'll get it before, and we can revisit it at the next meeting. I think that'll be the easiest way. I mean, I could step out and call Mr. McClure. I don't know that he's going to be available right at this moment. And plus, we've already voted.
How tight is the deadline, Tanya? Do you know?
Well, we have 3 meetings left here for the end of the year. By the next meeting, there are only going to be 2 meetings left. I believe January 1st is the deadline unless there's certain paperwork. It's either filed or authorized by the tax collector so we can have an extension to that deadline. I need someone to consult with to make sure that I'm reading the information correctly. So
Totally agree with that. I totally agree, and that's necessary.
But if the tax collector cannot meet the deadlines that are required of him, this may not happen. That's what I'm trying to say. The tax collector is the one who's requested the information, so I'm trying to get it to him as fast as I can.
Is it possible that we can amend this resolution to authorize up to $10,000 to be spent, not specifically with this attorney, but to accomplish what we're trying to do? You understand what I'm saying?
The resolution is for this particular firm.
Yeah, like I say, we voted. I think the easiest thing to do is we'll just come back at the next meeting. I'll talk to Mr. McClure and find out if it's even doable, and bring it back at the next meeting. I mean, it's that simple.
It may be a moot point. You may be.
I don't think the timeline is going to be that onerous that that 2 weeks is going to make it or break it.
I don't know. I don't know. That's what I was hearing. If we don't get it done today, it may not happen. Right.
It may not. I'm performing the request today, so the tax collector has enough time to review the timeline. If he feels that it's not enough time, then it may not happen for 2019. I'm just doing this off his request. We need to get moving and looking at what is required of the district and what's required of the tax collector. So.
Are we assuming that...
2 weeks is not...
Tanya?
Yes, sir?
Are we assuming that even if John McClure does it, it's going to be $10,000 maybe anyway? I mean, I understand Ray's point, but, the cost in that's not relevant. I mean, whether we do it or not, but again, it's some of the stuff we face here that, you know, it might be a very mute idea that somebody contacted Ray, which you probably know who that was, that he might have done it again in the past. I don't know if that makes a difference. If the cost is going to be not to exceed 10,000, it doesn't make any difference.
But see, those are the numbers that we don't have right now.
You know,
We have no idea what it costs us.
To exceed.
But we do not know what those numbers were in the past, is all I'm saying. You know,
We've already voted on it.
Yeah.
I don't think 2 weeks is going to make a huge difference. Let's hope not.
I don't want to, I'm not trying to jeopardize the whole project. So if 2 weeks is going to make that much of a difference, then I will reverse my vote, or however we have to do that to fix it. I'm just curious as to, you know, finding out what happened. And if we don't have time to do it, then that's shame on us. You guys got to tell us.
We'll come back in 2 weeks with some information and with the same resolution.
Fine. Okay. Where are we at? Public comment? No. Okay. Discussion of the proposed zoning changes. Tanya?
Oh, okay. Okay, so we had another meeting. President Camp, Tanya, and I met with Mr. Hanley and the county attorney about these proposed zoning changes. And effectively what we're essentially trying to do is we're trying to raise the minimum square footages in Unit 16 for houses that are directly that are adjacent to the golf courses and the houses that are not adjacent to the golf course. Currently, under R1A, the minimum golf course square footage is 1,000 square feet, and under R3 is potentially a minimum of 750 square feet, and that brings us into the tiny house realm that has been a concern in the past. And our proposed changes will bring that up on golf course lots from 1,000, basically the maximum or minimum to 1,600 square feet, and off golf course 1,200 square feet. So that's the county is saying they're willing to work with us. There'll be some mailing costs for us. We've put together a informational packet that we want to have go out with the assessment bills this year to all the Unit 16 owners, basically asking if this is something that they're going to support or something they would propose, or if they are indifferent to it, because there'll have to be, it's going to be the county's the ones that are going to have to vote on it. The Board of County Commissioners have to vote on it, because it's going to basically change all the zoning in Unit 16. And there's going to be public hearings involved. They're going to know what kind of support that they have, because the more support that we have, the easier it is to obviously pass it and to defend it if anybody comes and says that they have some sort of opposition to it. So, as far as cost, we're looking at probably $5,000 is not to exceed $5,000, and that's primarily going to be the administrative cost for mailing stuff out and collecting the data that we're looking to supply to the county.
Thank you, David. Board discussion? Did you have something, Tanya, to add to that?
I want to talk to y'all, and maybe we can have a few conversations about the proposed square footages that's listed on my memo here. I do want to clarify that for the multifamily proposed square footages, that it is the total square footage of the floor plan. So that means that currently you could have a duplex. One side could be 750 square feet, the other side could be 600. This would increase it. If it's on a golf course, each unit has to be an 800 square foot minimum, and if it's not on the golf course, it would be 600. Is that correct? Mm-hmm. Okay. I just want to clarify that for the multifamily.
Yeah, that was one of my questions, and I was more concerned about if it was outside of Unit 12. About the the complexes like we have across the street.
Correct. They're not affected
They're
by
not
this.
affected, and I was
Correct.
worried that, and I would like to make sure we do a little bigger over there where we're talking about, but as long as Ron thinks we can do it, but,
This is specific to Unit 16.
yeah, and I wasn't sure of that.
Yeah, specific to Unit 16.
I mean, I think that I'd like to challenge the multifamily. I mean, 1,600 square foot, if somebody built, or 1,200, if somebody builds a townhouse for 1,200, that's pretty small. Or,
But think about what it's at right now.
I'm sorry?
Think about what it is at right now, if this change doesn't take place.
Well, I understand that, but I'm just saying, isn't 1,200 rather small?
It is, but 750 is really small.
Okay.
And Ray,
so-
there are some negotiations we have to go.
Well,
I mean, I was in on the first meeting with Ron, and the county owns these, the majority of these. It's not, you know, if we can want something and do it, but this is an improvement to what, I think what Mark's saying is, it was really bad.
I mean,
And the county owns the lots, and we got to work to make sure, I guess, maybe we can ask Mark to negotiate more but they won't sell them lots if we don't.
well, my compliments to Ron, since he's coming up there now, but to Ron and Joy and everybody from the county who helped us kind of come to some kind of let's say, an agreement at this point in time. They do have the majority of the lots out there, and they're actually working with us very closely to make sure that we get the wishes of the district here. You know, so I would love to see it higher, but I'm also trying to be realistic. I don't want to see 750 square foot homes. That's me. And a lot of people who have spoken to me.
The multifamily, so we're talking like what Hornick built over there, that's a multifamily, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's one building, two people live there, so they could do one for 1,200 off the golf course, right? So each of them could, if they did them equally, they'd be no bigger than 600, and that's acceptable. Okay.
No, not golf course, no. 1,600 is a golf course.
No, I'm
Off
sorry,
golf-
not on
off
the golf course, it's 1,200 square foot.
Right.
So they could be two units at 600 apiece.
Well, not technically, because the current zoning, the R3 zoning is for multifamily is if you have two units,
Yeah.
one of the units has to be at least 750, and the second unit can be as low as 600. So technically it's 1,350 for a. But the main issue that we're having, and it's a little bit convoluted, but if you own R3 zoning, you are allowed to build in R3 anything that you can build in R2, anything that you can build in R1A, or anything that you can build in R1. And R1 allows you, or I'm sorry, R1, is it R1 or R1A? R1A, you can build as low as 750, or R1 you can build as low as 750, which means that it's unlikely that it would happen, but technically someone that owned an R3 zoned lot could build a 750 square foot house there under the current land use regulations.
R1A says 1,000, doesn't it? Where's 750?
R1, because that's all of the land use zones build on each other. So if you own an R1, you can build a house as low as 750 square feet. R1A, it's a minimum of 1,000. R2, you can build anything that you can build in R1A or R1, and R3, you can build anything that you can build in the others. So basically, this is going to require a complete zoning change for all the residential zonings in Unit 16. And so what we're saying is that if the base house, single-family residence would be 1,200 square feet, they would still, if they're building a multifamily, the current multifamily minimum that they could build under land use regulations would be 1,350.
Why does it say 1,200 if it's 1,350?
Because that is, we're saying that for any, even though you have...
Y'all may think this is funny, but if I'm going to sign off on a document and it says 1,200, that's what it is, not 1,350. Why didn't it say 1,350?
Because 1,350 would be for a multifamily.
But it says multifamily.
I understand that. That's the zoning classification. But if you own an R3 lot, you're allowed to build a multifamily unit or a single family unit.
Right.
So the multifamily unit is a duplex, basically,
Right.
The minimum under the current zoning rules is $13.50. But the single family, which you could also build on that multifamily zoned lot, is only $7.50. And so that's what we're trying to raise.
So you're raising that to $1,200.
Correct.
Correct. Ron, did you have...
Just from the county's standpoint, you know, we're here to do whatever you all want to do. We do own a lot of the property. We want to get it back on the tax rolls. So I'm sure my fellow commissioners will be in, I mean, there may be some discussion, but it's really your subdivision, and we all recognize it as such. And as a group, I'm sure we'll do whatever this board recommends. We just want to make sure there's been some discussion. You know, you're changing the zoning laws, and technically, this should have been done years ago in some sort of a homeowner association document rather than a legal zoning change. So we're sort of, I think we've worked out the gray area that it's okay to do, but it's a little out of the ordinary, that's for sure. But the county is fully on board with increasing, or I am, increasing the square footage because it will protect your property values, no question. And I'm certain my fellow commissioners will go along with whatever you all decide.
So let me ask you, Ron.
Yeah.
I think I asked this in the meetings that we had. So, are you saying over and above the proposed numbers, you're willing to look further, maybe, and expand those numbers?
We're willing to do whatever you all decide. I don't think there'll be very little discussion. Like I say, you all know what's best, what's most marketable for this subdivision, how you protect everything that's here. So I don't think there's going to be any splitting of hairs from our standpoint. As long as legally we can make this zoning change just for Unit 16, or whatever unit you choose to attach it to. But I think David and Joy have worked that part out, the legality of it.
What a miscommunication that was.
You're puzzled. I did answer your question, apparently.
So, well, the feedback that I got was, no offense, the county was very reluctant.
We're used to that. It's okay.
I'm not saying. The feedback I got was that the county was reluctant to go higher because I guess you guys own some of the property and you didn't think it was the right thing to do. Now you're saying that you'll do what we want to do. So there's a disconnect here someplace.
Ultimately, it'll be what you all want to do. There may be some discussion about it, and it's all personal opinion. Who really, I'm certainly going to argue for Sunny Lakes that it should be more than what's there today, so you protect what's here, is my stand. And I don't know what my other commissioner will say, but I don't think there's going to be a lot of discussion about making it smaller just to dump the property, just for us to get it back on the tax roll. I don't think we're that short-sighted. I don't know who told you that, but...
May have been the same guy that called me yesterday. I can't remember.
Here's where I'm a little bit puzzled on it, and I have to go back into my notes. This discussion has been around for at least 2 years, okay? At least 2 years that I can remember back. And early on, there was a proposal, I believe, and that's why I don't have that information. There was a proposal on the table to do something in the area of like 1,800 square feet, I believe. It was considerably more than the 1,200 and 1,600 square feet, because the average home was, and I say the average, and let me take that back. In Unit 16, they had homes that really were 1,650 square feet off the golf course as a minimum, and 2,000 on the golf course for the Deer Run area. So we were trying to kind of, at that time, make that all consistent so that we would have like 2,000 square feet.
Wasn't that because we were trying to match up some of the, wasn't there some private, so to speak, homeowner associations?
Yes.
With their own requirements, and we were talking about trying to make them uniform across the board?
And that's exactly it.
Okay.
But at that time, it didn't appear that was going to fly, is all I'm saying.
And sorry to interrupt, but when this discussion originally started, it was going to be district-wide, not just Unit 16. The original discussion was for the entire district.
Oh, that's a major difference then, okay. Now I understand it better there.
And I know for the latest house built over where we're talking about on the golf course is 1,750 square feet. The one that was just built last year.
Okay.
Okay? I mean, just to let you know what that is. And it's a nice house. It's on the golf course.
Okay. I mean, I'm fine with that. I'm not sure if we're if you're talking living area or total under roof. There's a big difference.
Living.
Okay, you said under roof earlier. That's why I got a little confused. So this is living area.
It's living.
Okay, so this 1,700 square feet is 1,750 living.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a 2,200 square foot house under roof. Just generally speaking, you got a 2-car garage, you got a porch, and you add 500 feet to whatever the living space is. Just kind of a rule of thumb in our business. So you're talking living area, because I don't think that's what Tanya said. I don't know what you all heard, but it is living area.
And those run 500 feet usually over? So what you're saying,
Well,
garage?
I'm just saying, if you add a 2-car garage, that's
yeah.
400 feet. And then you added 100 square feet for a back porch, just to throw something up there. It's somewhere in the neighborhood of 500 or 600 square feet under roof, in addition to what, from the 1750. So if you measured that total house, it would be somewhere in the neighborhood of 2,200 square feet, 2,300, I'm assuming. If it has a garage, and I'm sure it does. Now that we're all confused, anything else?
Well, the current proposed numbers are living square footage area. Yeah, living area. The 1,600 square foot minimum living area on the golf course and 1,200 not on the golf course is currently the Preserve Homeowners Association minimums, okay, per their deed restrictions. Going back to the Deer Run, which is this area that we're talking about, it's 2,000 on the golf course and 1,600 square foot minimum living area off the golf course. So
I think it's actually 1,850, but you might be right. It might be 1,600.
So we have over 300 lots already in Unit 16 with the Deer Run deed restrictions on them. But they're not adjacent to each other. They're spread out all over the place. So
okay, so
I'm thoroughly confused now, and I thought I understood this when I walked in here. But if I'm looking at that map, the gold is the multifamily lots.
Correct.
Is that correct? And if I'm building a multifamily unit on there, am I talking 1,300 square feet per, or am I talking half of 1,300?
Under the current zoning regulations, if you're building a multifamily unit on a multifamily zoned parcel, 1,350 is the minimum.
Per side?
No. Total.
So if I got a duplex, each side has to be half of 1,350.
No, technically, it's one side with the it's 750 and 600 are the absolute minimums under current county code. That is not the multifamily is not our concern. Our concern is if you own a multifamily R3 lot, you're still allowed to build a single family residence on that lot. Okay. And that number is 750.
But you could have a single family resident right next to a duplex, right?
Correct.
yes.
And that's what we don't want to necessarily have happen, I assume.
So
You can't stop that.
You can't stop.
No, I know we can't stop it, but we can at least make the square footage.
But if we're not addressing that issue, why are we talking about it?
Oh,
we're not changing it if I'm understanding.
Yeah, we're not changing the multifamily portion of it. We're changing because like we just said, 1,350 is the minimum under current code, but anybody that owns an R3 lot can build a single family residence, and that could be 750. That's what we're trying to change.
So as I understood it walking in here, the only thing they could do if it's on the golf course, they could put a 1,600 square, under the new proposal, they could put a 1,600 square foot single family if they wanted to, or they can put a 1,350 duplex.
No.
No, we're going to change that.
Changing that as well.
Yeah, we'll change that, so the multifamily will go up to 1,600.
Perfect. Now, if they're interior, they go to 1,200. The max single family they could build.
Correct.
And then you're going to, in addition, raise the minimum for duplexes.
No, the duplexes off golf course will stay at 1,350.
Okay. All right. I mean, this all been negotiated multiple times. And I wasn't part of that, but we've talked about it several times. I don't really understand the confusion.
The whole thing
I thought I
started,
knew it until I came in.
The confusion, I think, was initially we were concerned about people coming in, buying up a lot of those lots in specific to Unit 16, buying up a lot of those lots and then putting what were called, let's say, tiny houses, or...
That's the problem we're trying to fix.
And that's what we're trying to resolve, so that at least we can potentially eliminate that part of it.
I got that.
So, that's all we're trying to do.
my only point was, I thought 1,200 was too small. If you all don't think it is, that's fine. I was just bringing it up. I wouldn't want to have somebody next door to me doing that. And just because it was 750 in the past doesn't mean it's right to make it 1,200. It's an improvement, yes, but is it the improvement that we really want to have? That's the only issue I was bringing up.
And that's why I went back to Ron, because I don't know what we can do.
1,200 living. Okay, so add 500 to it.
It's 17.
So from an aesthetics point of view, looking at that structure, it's going to look bigger than 1,200 square feet, assuming it's going to have a garage. I mean, every house out here has a garage. Two-car garage, I think.
I was just bringing it to,
Make sure you're thinking that one thing you're thinking is living space, air-conditioned space, and the other is total square footage. Don't get them confused. There's a big difference. So from looking at it, 1,200...
I personally think it's too small. If everybody else thinks it's right, fine, that's what we go.
Well, it is a discussion. It's not a resolution. It's not a final thing.
I just was bringing up that I thought it was too small. If you guys think it's okay, that's fine.
At what point in time is that going to go to the county?
Whenever y'all are ready.
Okay. We make that decision.
Yeah, we're going to have to do, there's still more stuff for us to do, but the big issue is we're one to send these flyers that's attached, the proposed zoning change notification with these numbers on it. We're wanting to put those out in with the assessment bills to save on postage. So we want to make sure that we're firm on those numbers before they go out.
Do we need a certain amount of signatures on those forms?
No, just the more support that we can get, the better. The better it is for us.
In the county-owned lots, how would they respond to this? Are you saying you're willing to work with us in any way? In other words, is this a confirmation?
Within reason.
If I sent you this letter, and would you confirm it?
1,200 and 1,600, I personally would.
Okay.
I'm right on the fence. That's marginal, but 1,200, okay. You can make a decent looking 1,200 square foot house as well as a 1,600 square foot on the golf course. I will tell you that it certainly opens up the market to a lot more buyers if you can keep those square footage down. And from being in the business personally, you can sell a 1,200 square foot and a 1,600 a heck of a lot quicker than you can 2,000. It's just that your market is so limited when you start getting that big. So the county's goal is to get them back on the tax roll, but at the same time, we want to protect you from a tiny home.
Right, I understand that.
And we want them to get on the tax roll as well, because the benefits to us are
everybody.
The assessments as well. So.
So the county will not actually be receiving this.
I knew they wouldn't be.
Because they don't get a bill from us, so they won't be receiving the notification.
I totally understand that. What I was saying was a little tongue-in-cheek here.
You're going to come back to us with whatever it is you want.
Yeah.
This letter that you're sending out, that's only to get support for what we're trying to do, correct?
Correct.
Show the county?
Correct.
Okay.
Ron, I have one question. It's not exactly with this, but it is. Are we still working on getting lots on your website available, and what's the turn on that? Are we doing 20?
We sold some property.
Did you?
Yeah.
How many are we doing a month? Or do you know? Okay. But you guys are working to eventually...
They just told me yesterday that we sold a golf course lot last week for, I don't know what they told me, $25,000.
Good, okay.
So, no, there's some activity.
Good, okay.
There's some activity.
Great.
I asked that because I had somebody ask me that lives over there on Pebble Beach that's thinking about buying a few lots and building a home there, on a spec home, just an individual person. And they wanted to know where they were available, and I called Tanya. Tanya said they can get it on the website. And I was just assuming all those golf course ones were already put out, but they're not, apparently.
I don't think they all are.
Okay.
No.
Okay. So I'm going to have him come in and talk to Tanya, and but see, I want stuff developed. That's it.
Tosh is the one that's running that for the county, and she can give her the lot number. She can tell you.
And there's maybe 10 or 15 at a time, is that correct, Omar, that are listed, but it's not all Sun and Lake. It's throughout the entire county that they're listing invitations for bids.
There's property all over the county.
So we can find out with the properties that were just listed through tax deed and is cheated to the county, we can find out timelines, proposed timelines for those, but they're not all listed on the website yet for invitation. Right.
Okay.
It takes time.
Thank you.
Tanya, when were you looking to do this mailer, the time frame? If we came to some kind of consensus here with these numbers.
It's going to be going out with the assessment bills the last week of October, so we would like a...
You need a consensus today is what you need.
Yes, sir.
You know, there's always the optimum that you would like to see, and then there's what you can get done practically. So I think that's pretty much where we are, at least in my mind, that we could probably get 12 and 16 support for that from most landowners. If you get it too big, you're going to be talking about more money than a lot of people can afford to buy a house of 2,500 square feet or whatever. So I think as a practical matter, this makes sense to me.
You know, I mean, it clearly is better than what we currently have on the books, okay? I mean, it's considerably better, and, you know, there's a risk-reward involved in it. I totally agree with you, Dan, that if we put it too high, our response might not be as good as we would wish it to be. So although I'd love to see it higher, I can live with the numbers that are here, because it is living space, or under air.
Me too.
So if you need consensus from the board, then we can do that right now.
And just one comment. There's essentially two priorities in my mind. One is to sell lots and have homes built. The second one is to protect existing property values. This meets those two requirements, however minimally, and I'd be 100% supportive of making a change.
I agree. It does. That's what the numbers are basically throughout the district now.
If I bought the lot, I could build a 750 square foot home now, right?
Yes.
I don't see him selling a lot of them. You think that by raising them, it's going to get us more sales? I'm trying to understand this whole thing. If you raise them, you think we're going to sell more lots? I don't think that's going to happen. I think we're going to sell the lots with the specs or the square footage that we want, but you can buy it now and build a little whatever you want on it.
And that's what we're trying to change. So if somebody doesn't buy that.
Don't put on blinders and think because you raise it, you're going to sell more lots. It ain't going to happen.
If I'm a builder, I'm not going to buy a lot and build a 1,500 square foot house on it. If you can build one beside me at 750.
Okay, fine. I'm good.
I mean, that's how we'd be protecting ourselves in the Unit 16. At least that's the way I envisioned it. So, and what Joe just said is there is a couple, there's a lot of criteria here, but two of those are key to it. So, those two that you mentioned. So, anyway, before we take a general consensus, although it appears that we have, to some degree, have already done that, is there any public comment? Okay, with no public comment, want to take it.
Good morning.
Good morning.
First again. There's probably a lot of things that kind of misunderstand what the county owns and what the district owns and what you're trying to do. And I hope that Ron is cooperating with you to change that, to make sure that these lots are available and to protect the homeowners there. That's obviously a 700 square foot house is not really in our good interest. I know that when I built my house, it was 1,800 or 2,000 square foot on the golf course. I understood that. That's not a problem. Not a 700 square foot, not a duplex, whatever. John McClure was part of the Woods and Irons Association as they developed. I encourage that this doesn't get kicked around for more than 2 years like it has been, and you guys act on it, because I think it's in the interest of the district to make those properties available so we can sell them. The ad valorem goes up, taxes come in. It's a good deal. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, can we take a consensus then to move forward on this? Chrissy? This is not a vote, it's a consensus.
Consensus.
What's the difference?
Supervisor Stiegel?
Yes.
Supervisor Gilpin?
Yes.
Supervisor Brooks?
Oh, shit. No.
Supervisor Branson?
Yes.
President Camp?
Yes. 4-1. Consensus carries.
I'll probably vote yes.
Okay. Add-on items?
None.
Okay. Petitions and communications?
None.
Staff reports. Cliff?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Short report. I'm really working on September financials. I'm trying to get them done early, so just so we can finish September and kind of work on closing end of year. So we're close. We did have there was a TDC meeting. I was actually with Ron about a week ago, and I actually have another one scheduled with Tracy. Really, just me and her, and just maybe see what I can do to help a little bit more. So I want to get more involved. Membership pacing, kind of where we're at. I kind of, as of the numbers kind of run yesterday afternoon, we're above pace from last year. So 189 memberships sold to date, 190 last year, but we're up from 632,000 to about 650,000, so up of 2.5%. Just, it's really, we're right on pace, and we're really trending exactly as we expected. So
I got a question on memberships. I know we threatened all the people who live here year-round that they have to get everything in by October 3rd, or October the 1st, excuse me. Do we put any limitations on the people coming from up north, when they have to be in by?
No. We've had several people already that aren't even going to join until November 1st or January 1st. I mean, there's been several renewals already, but no, most of them don't renew until the week they get back in town.
Do you know how many of those memberships are new?
I'll find out. I can't tell you off the top of my head.
Michael? Dan? You're going to stay for the remainder of the meeting?
Yes.
Okay, because I do have questions, but I'll be at the end. Okay.
I figured.
Thank you very much.
Actually, I do have a comment. I'd just like to make sure that Cliff and Earl get credit for listening and cutting down the rough on Deer Run so that us old people can hit more than a sandwich out of it. It looks much better, and it's much more playable than it was. So thanks to you guys.
Can I ask you a couple questions?
Sure.
Cliff, I was just wondering, how is that, those family meals that you tried, you started them, I guess, a week ago Thursday, how are they working out?
Yeah, we did it one time.
I thought you did it twice. I'm sorry.
Yeah, the first time was was actually 2 days ago, Tuesday the 9th. So I think we served 22, but we're serving...
Are you talking about the wine dinner thing?
No, the wine dinner was last night.
Yeah.
There were 19, I believe, for the wine dinner.
19?
So, yeah. I mean, it was a good first try. I mean, we have a pretty diverse membership. We're just trying to, hit everybody's button a little bit. We're really, there's some people that have really asked for some more upscale stuff, and that's what we're trying. And
no, 19
I thought it was fairly successful. So we actually capped it at 30 and.
19's good. How's that buffet? That buffet, family style buffet?
We're doing it in conjunction with just regular a la carte dining too. But we serve 22 meals off of that, and really it's kind of plus another 40 off the regular menu. But that's pretty good too. I mean, the whole idea was to try and have a family of 4 come and eat a really nice dinner for about $30, and. We're going to continue it and start and keep advertising in the.
No, that's fine. I mean, I think I applaud you for the effort.
So it was a nice kind of a slow. We kind of wanted to slow start it so we didn't get overwhelmed, and I think it's worked out pretty well so far. And it's scheduled again next week, and we'll give you another update after that.
Okay. Thank you.
On the one last night, the wine and dine, or the limited 30 people, do you know, or do you have any kind of feel as to whether that really was residents or outside people? We advertised it to the outside, so
we didn't much actually. It was mostly it was all members and members' guests.
Okay,
that's what it was.
Thank you.
Oh, I did have one more. I'm sorry. That citrusgolftrail.com.
Mm-hmm.
Can you give me an update on where we are with that?
I have a meeting with her actually set up on a week from yesterday. And next Wednesday, I'm meeting with Tracy, and we'll be talking about it, and I'll let you know more.
Okay. Can we get, because I really, is there a way to get that name off there real quick? The person who doesn't work for us anymore? The contact person on the website?
Yeah, I'll do it.
Yeah, I'd like to get that off, because the person, my understanding is not an employee anymore. Thank you. I'm done.
Thank you, Ray. General Counsel, Dave.
Tanya and I had a meeting with Supervisor Branson earlier this week about code enforcement and some things we can do to improve performance in that area. And I'm going to be doing a little bit of research on that, and we'll probably come to you guys with some proposed ideas about how we can improve how that's working out. Also, I told you at the last meeting that we had received the title search report on the Unit 12 lots, and it has revealed that there is actually a mortgage outstanding on a large portion of those lots, and we're preparing a demand letter. It's going to be a significant demand letter, and so we're going to bring it to the board probably at the next board meeting to kind of talk about how we want it worded before it goes out to the lending institution. That's it.
Thank you, David. Any questions from the board? No. Tanya?
Just a couple announcements. The contractor is finished with the Unit 2 drainage and swale cleaning, and the sod will be installed starting on Monday. So that project will be officially finished probably by the end of next week. Also, we received 3 bids for the golf course equipment, so we're currently analyzing those bids internally, and we should be bringing a resolution to the board at the October 26th meeting. Another event that we have started here at the district in conjunction with the Island View is starting on Monday, October 15th. We'll be hosting a brand new coffee and conversations for the community, and this will be weekly. And we have I think 5 or 6 sponsors already lined up where they will bring some sort of a pastry or donut, to talk with those. So anybody is welcome to attend these, and it's just something that we're trying to get more community involvement, and then with community residents meeting each other as well. So that's something that's starting on Monday. So depending on the day, we might have the event at the Island View, or we might have it here at the community center, just depending. So I just wanted to announce that. And then our ice cream social, the next ice cream social will be Thursday, November 1st, and we're going to change the time from 2 to 5 instead of 1 to 4. So, thank you.
Great, thank you. Thank you very much.
Tanya, I have one question, and maybe this is an Omar question, but about a month ago, we were pushing the budget awful hard in several areas. Are we in trouble there in terms of the budget? I mean, my understanding from our conversations was we were over budget in several areas. Not huge amounts of money, but where are we going to end the year in terms of...
Oh, the year-end numbers?
Yeah.
We were over budget in certain areas, especially the administration department, because of all the hurricane expenses that we had to front, and we have not received all the FEMA dollars yet. We received 1 check from FEMA, and I believe 2 reimbursements from the insurance company. One was for operations related to the golf course, and the other was reimbursement on some damage. So we are going to be over budget, and any budget amendments we have, we'll be bringing those to you at the November meeting. Because we cannot, like for administration, I don't know if we're close, but we are over. Okay, so we'll definitely have a budget amendment to be bringing to you in November to get that cleaned up. We cannot be over budget when it comes to year end on certain departments, especially the general fund is what I'm speaking of. So we are over in some areas.
Any feel at all for how significant that might be?
In the administration department, the budget amendment would somewhere be around $50,000 to get that department back in line, back in compliance. The general fund as a whole pretty much is going to break even. Some of the other departments had some savings, so budget overall, the general fund had a pretty decent year, and it was breaking. The district utility fund will have a surplus of almost $400,000, largely attributed to the water treatment plant project that never went underway. So we'll be carrying that $290,000 project into this year's budget. So overall, pretty good year. Once again, we will have an increase in reserves in the amount of about $250,000.
Thank you.
Thanks, Omar. Unfinished business?
None.
New business?
None.
Committee reports?
None.
Public comment?
Good morning, Larry Bertetto. I don't know if I read this or I heard it, but there was a comment, I believe by President Kemp, to have Billy Casper Golf be on the plus side instead of the negative. Is that correct?
I did make a statement at the last meeting.
Very good.
We would like to see them in the future be able to balance their budget, yes. Okay,
and then I listened to the board meeting where there was a little concern about the restaurant making money.
The restaurant.
There's $980,000 for a restaurant, and it didn't seem like there was a concern. If I was a restaurant owner, I'd certainly want to make money. You go down the road, starting at the Olympic and working your way south, and you see many cars parked in these restaurants. You go past Sun and Lake and you don't see any cars at 7 o'clock. And is somebody going to be accountable? We're going to spend $900,000 for a restaurant. If it doesn't make much money, who's going to be accountable? is somebody, I mean, if I own a business, I want to make money. And I believe the comment was, it's sort of an amenity for the people here.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
That, okay. For the people, how many people in Sun and Lake frequent that restaurant? Other than the golfers, you're probably talking 85% of people here do not frequent that restaurant. So you need to find out how you're going to get people in here to spend money. You know, I don't want to be negative, but, you know, if I own a business, I want to make money when I open the door.
Own a business, though.
Pardon?
You know, never mind, I'm not going to say anything.
No, I'd enjoy your comment.
No,
please.
no comment.
You go by some of these restaurants and you see people at between 11 o'clock in the morning, and after 7, the parking lots are filled with people. We don't have anything. So I think somebody needs to work to get people in there. That's all I have.
Thanks, Larry. Any further public comment?
Good morning, gentlemen. My name is John Nelson. I'm the Vice President of the Tanglewood HOA.
John, could you just speak a little closer to the mic, maybe?
Okay, I can get right down on it.
Thank you.
Okay, my name is John Nelson. I'm the Vice President of the Tanglewood HOA. We just received, just a little history. I've lived in Tanglewood for 12 years, and the park is approximately 18 years old. This year, out of the blue, something we were never informed about, was we're getting an assessment from the district for a maintenance assessment. The HOA board has been going through this assessment, and we're trying to figure out why we're being charged an assessment to cover things that we don't utilize that are within the Tanglewood property that we pay for. In other words, roads. The district has nothing to do with our roads in Tanglewood. The water management, Southwest Florida water management, the retention ponds and everything. This district, Sun and Lake, has nothing to do with that. We just had to pay money to have the spillway replaced that was destroyed by Irma. Sun and Lake didn't pay for that. Hometown America does. The people that live in there pay for it. We also run into the situation, the facilities, maintenance recreational facilities include the country club, golf course, restaurant. The gentleman just talking about lounge operation. Number one, I feel like he does, the country club should be self-sustaining along with the lounge, just like any private enterprise. Why should we be assessed to maintain or cover the cost of that restaurant? We don't, unless somebody comes over here to eat. It's no different than any other restaurant in the county that we go to. The same thing with the golf course. This golf course is of no benefit to us in Tanglewood. I don't get any special fees on it. I come over here to play golf. I pay the same rate that John Doe does I do. I'm not on the Tanglewood League. I am not in the Tanglewood League. I'm just a resident.
As a resident, you should be getting a discount.
I pay the same rate everybody else does. I've never had a discount on this course.
I guess my only point, and
Okay.
I didn't mean to, but you should get
the point
a residence rate.
The point is, if I wanted to live in a golf club community where I had to pay to maintain a golf course, I would have moved to a golf club community. But Tanglewood was not advertised as a golfwood community. Tanglewood does not have a golf course. There's about 23 things on here that provisions for water lines and fire hydrants, was John Graytek actually installed them. You folks took over the service of them sometime after the fact that he had built the park. And we do pay a water fee just like anybody else, and I would assume that fee is supposed to cover the maintenance of these things. Why are we being assessed another fee to cover the cost of the water lines?
3 minutes.
I'm sorry?
He just said there's 3 minutes. We'll allow another 2 minutes.
Is code enforcement. Who actually does your code enforcement? Do you have a code inspector, or is it done by the county?
We have code enforcement. The county has code enforcement, and so does the district.
You have a code inspector?
Yes, we do.
I'm hard of hearing, so
Yes, we do. Yes, sir.
Okay. Does he take care of Tanglewood, or does the county take care of it? My understanding was the county, when we have something done in Tanglewood, the county does it. No, you just had a code permit put up for someone to put an addition on their house. Did that go through you folks?
Not the construction. Construction and new construction goes through the county. But we do have provisions for code enforcement related to minimum maintenance standards.
But we're being assessed for it.
Yes, you are.
Again,
Yes.
that's another one of those things. Provision of lighting. The district has nothing to do with the lighting in Tanglewood. Absolutely nothing. Tanglewood put the lights in. The lights are maintained by Tanglewood, and they're maintained by the power. The ones on cement poles are maintained by the power company. All the plastic ones are maintained by Tanglewood. These are just some of the things that are on this list that we're being assessed for that you folks don't have any investment in having to take care of that stuff. And we're actually giving this to our lawyer to have him look this over, because we have serious questions as to we're being double charged for things. We're getting charged by the county, we're getting charged by Sun and Lake, we're getting charged by Hometown America.
Mr. Nelson.
Can I interrupt for a moment?
Yes.
I think that I understand what your list of items are. I think some of them can easily be clarified. There might be some misunderstandings, maybe not. But might I suggest that we kind of put something together to sit down with him for a few minutes outside of this public, because there are a lot of other things involved in that pertain to the way the assessments are set up for Tanglewood. And you mentioned you're part of the HOA specifically, right? Which I believe, if I've been following your minutes, your concerns have also to do with Hometown America and some of the rates they're charging for lots and things like that nature.
We got problems at Hometown America.
Yeah, so
they're going in front of Mr. Helms very shortly.
So,
but
Mr. Nelson, we have already requested a meeting with the attorney for Hometown America to review the contract. We have a contract in place with Tanglewood on what we will be charging them per acre on each year. So there's already a contract in place. All of those provisions that you're reading was adopted by the Board of Supervisors for the normal assessments inside Sun and Lake. What you're reading does not apply to, not all of that applies to Tanglewood, because we have a contract in place. So this is something we're already addressing with the general manager of Tanglewood, and we will be setting up a future meeting as soon as they get back to us on the contract negotiations.
Okay, because we're being charged $218,000 for this, for what we're being thinking. And the list that Hometown America gave us that came from you folks has things in like provisions of sidewalks. You don't deal with our sidewalks. We put them in and we maintain them. Everything, we don't, clubhouse, we don't use this clubhouse. If I do want to use it as a Tanglewood resident, I have to pay a fee to use it. If I want to use any other facility over here in Sun and Lake, I have to pay a fee to tennis courts, the pétanque courts, the pool, or anything else. So we have all this stuff in Tanglewood. Why are we being double assessed?
Mr. Nelson, I am going to have to ask you, we will get back.
Okay.
Once we get in touch with, because we have the meeting with the attorney.
I know Mr. Bobo, you're talking about Mr. Bobo. That's the Tanglewood attorney.
We don't know that Tanglewood is not, we haven't heard from Tanglewood about when we're going to have a meeting with their attorney. We're still waiting.
What the residents of Tanglewood and HOA are going to be demanding, period, I am saying demanding, is a direct itemized list with cost of what we're being assessed. So we know, because this all of a sudden, you know that most of us are on fixed income retired people. All of a sudden we're getting charged another $16 on our rent for this assessment of things that we thought we were already paying for because they're in Tanglewood.
Okay. Well taken. Noted. Duly noted. Okay. Once we have our meeting set up with Hometown America, maybe we'll have some of those answers. It's John Nelson, correct?
Appreciate it. Yes, sir.
Okay.
I do
Thank you very much.
I will bring you up a business card, and I'll get away from the microphone.
Fantastic. Thank you. Any other further public comments? Thanks, John. Okay. Thank you very much.
Watch your step. Be careful going down.
Mr. Nelson,
Wires.
Mr. Nelson,
There's a wire here.
There's a wire there.
No, I see it.
Okay.
Okay.
Be careful.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Bill Norcross, resident. I'm glad Mr. Nelson showed up today, HOA representative from Tanglewood, and having complaints about his maintenance assessment. I appreciate that type of thing. But also, he made some statements which I want to contradict, because Tanglewood does get a discount. They get a group rate over there, and it irritates members here when they bring in a guest, they have to pay full price because they're not part of a group. But you bring a group over Tuesday and Thursday, and you get a nice discount. That's true? All right. As far as your lighting assessment, I talked to Great Tech one time, and he told me, he said, look, I put poles up and do this and do that, whatever it is. Okay, fine. Well, whatever deal, whatever contract type of thing has been made, if you want to break it, I think you probably have to work hard on it. I think you probably want to have Tanglewood annexed the way you're talking, because you feel that you're being double charged for everything. Well, maybe you are, but then again, you're in a situation that you're invited to come to Sun and Lake, participate in any event, and you guys refuse because you have your own clubhouse, and you have your own swimming pool, and you have your own pickleball type of stuff. And there's over 200 golfers over there in Tanglewood. I think there's only 2 members that come into Sun and Lake as members. And I think that what I have heard is that people get together over in Tanglewood and say, don't join Sun and Lake because we can get a special deal. And that's not right.
I've never heard that.
Well,
Okay.
I've had mold over there.
This isn't a discussion to and from two people.
All right, the
This
thing
is
is,
public hold it. It's public comment. Appreciate your comments. But it's not going to be a discussion back and forth.
2 more seconds, all right. Years ago, under Great Tech, there was a water discrepancy. There was over $50,000 that Great Tech owed the district because there wasn't accountability. So there's things that have gone by the boards that should have been fixed a long time ago. You guys pay a lot for rent over there. That's your problem. I pay a lot of county taxes here. I pay $700 and $2,300 for county taxes. I don't like it, but that's the way it is. I'm sorry.
Thank you, Bill. Any further public comment? Kind of afraid that. Okay, discussion to and from the board. Anything?
Of course.
Okay.
Yeah, I have one thing I want to bring up, and this is not for a discussion. I just want to give an opinion of something. I understand we're probably not going to have a veterans golf tournament this year, and I think that's very unfortunate. But I would like to reach out. I just think it's important that Sun and Lake support the veterans in the community. So I would like to reach out somehow to the Veterans Committee and have them meet with us. I think I've asked this before, but have them meet with us, so early next year. I understand this year is a wash and nothing's going to happen, and that's the way it is. But meet with us next year and see if we can get on the same page and hold a golf tournament to support the veterans in the community. I think it's important. I think it's something we shouldn't just walk away from totally. We miss a year, we miss a year. Just my opinion.
Thank you.
I had a question on the meeting Monday, and you guys clarified it, because I kept seeing advertisements and hadn't heard anything. But my other comment is to you, Ron, just thank you. But if I sound sometimes a little aggressive, because it's important to me, these lots, and to get people not buying them, because the last thing I want is somebody to buy a lot and not build on it, so, because then we start the same stuff that we had before, but I just, and I know you are, from meetings with you, working hard to try to get them available to the public so we can get some homes built, not lots. I know you want to sell the lots, but I want homes on those lots. Yeah, and but just so you know, I'm not ragging you. It's just it's been okay. It's just frustrating because I've been on the board now almost 3 years, and we're finally seeing some movement, and it's so thank you for what you can do and what you've done. Okay. I know.
And
we got one over here too.
Ditto on that one, Ron. I appreciate all you've done. I do have just a couple quick comments. I don't know how the public finds out about this, but maybe they'll read the minutes or listen to the tape or whatever. And it's an unfortunate thing, the Pebble Beach extension, apparently the developers, correct me if I'm wrong, the developers have denied our request to have an escrow account. It's unfortunate that we're not going to get that property built, but at the same time, it's $680,000 that we might have put in infrastructure that could have been at risk. So hopefully somebody else will come along and do that. So anyway, for those people that are listening to this, the Pebble Beach extension currently is on hold, possibly dead, I don't know. The other thing is, the supervisors probably know this, I don't know that the public knows it. Cliff Schultz declined our not to exceed on the $20,000 for the Lanai drawings. However, we have reached out to Polston Engineering, and the board has received emails on this, so it looks like that's a positive direction right there. And then the other part, and it kind of addresses Mr. Benedetto, he asked about the kitchen. And it's been a great discussion here, and it is not, the intent was never that we thought we would get a total return on our investment, and it's been discussed different ways of how we would get a return on the investment. There's a belief, I think, and I'll speak for myself, that seating would be nice if we could get the additional seating on the Lanai, and we're looking at things of that nature. But also, the request has come multiple times, and I'm throwing this right out at you, okay, Cliff, that some form of a business plan, it doesn't have to be a financial cost analysis, but there are other parts to a business plan that need to tell us if we're going forward with these projects, since we have it funded, that we get some kind of plan. Some of my colleagues have asked for it. Ron has promised it. I want to know where it is, when we should be seeing it. Because we have now started to go forward with architectural drawings. We're spending a lot of money, and we still don't know why we're doing this sometimes. Okay. So any idea when we might be able to see something in a preliminary stage on that?
I'll talk to Ron right away, and I'll work on it. I really don't remember really being instructed to kind of get it done. I thought that we were kind of waiting until we had some bids so we could just see all the numbers. But I'm happy to start the process and get it. I'll get it to you, and I'll make sure it happens.
Yeah, I think this board has made a commitment to put into the budget a significant amount of money. So
I completely understand.
Yeah, so I think that's important.
You got it.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Meeting's adjourned.